Yeah, Judd picked Bobby John and I, which was so random. The two old survivors that came back a second time get to eat the feast with Judd. But, you know, Judd made it clear that he picked him, and it was completely not game, like not strategy, nothing like that. It was just Bobby John made Judd feel really welcome when he walked into Camp Day 1, and I made him feel really welcome when he walked into Camp Day 10, when we had the switch. And he just wanted two people out there he can eat and drink and enjoy himself with, and Jamie got a little out of hand the day before drinking at that other feast, and that's why he chose Bobby John. I don't think it was part of the game. Bobby John had even mentioned, I don't expect an alliance out of this. I just want to thank you for, A, keeping me in the game, and B, helping me get to the jury at least. And Judd looked at me and said, we're still sticking to the plan. This doesn't change anything. So I don't think it reassured Bobby John, because he's been nervous all day. And you know, he keeps saying, like, to me, I know my days are numbered, but I just want you to know, like, you can trust me if you ever need to. Or today he said, people are noticing you and Rafe are really close, so just be careful if you want to get further in this game. He's like, you know, I just want to let you know that, and stuff like that. So I feel like Bobby John thinks he's going, and he's almost okay with it. I woke up first thing this morning to Bobby John and Jamie talking, and I heard my name and I heard Rafe's name, and I was like, what the hell? And I couldn't hear what they were talking about, but Jamie is just talking to so many people, like he could be saying anything. So I went to go get firewood, and Judd was with me, and I was like, he's like, well, I guess Jamie and Bobby John made up, I guess they're buddies. I'm like, yeah, Jamie thinks he's buddies with everybody. I'm like, what is his deal? You know, I'm like, he's screwing everything up, because he like freaks out, and he makes sure that, are we still doing the game plan? I swear to God, you can trust me, this and that. And then the day before, he's telling Judd I'm trying to get rid of him. And then he freaked Lydia out this morning because Lydia was talking to Gary in the middle of the night, and Cindy was right there. And Cindy's like, they didn't say anything about the game. So, I don't know. So Judd and I got on this kind of tangent, and I was like, honestly, I was like, we'll keep him around for this vote, but if he continues to talk behind our back and tear apart our numbers and our alliance that we worked so hard to form, we're getting rid of him next before Bobby John. And he was like, I'm fine with that. I was like, you know, because it's just too threatening to all of us. And why should he stick around when everybody else is being loyal? And here he is chattering like an idiot all over the place. So Judd's whole thing was, I just think he's really dumb. I don't think he's going to act on it. I think he's dumb. And I was like, well, then let him be dumb enough to get voted out. And, you know, Judd and I kind of just had that conversation. So we'll wait and see, because it depends if he wins immunity again. He's not going anywhere. But, or if he gets his act together, I don't know. But, you know, I wouldn't mind getting rid of him because he annoys me really badly. Really badly. Jamie stares at me all the time. And not like in a sexual way, just like staring at me. Almost like he can't stand me, but he knows that that I get along with everybody, so he's going to keep me around. Like, almost like he wants to get rid of me or do something to me. And it's weird. And I always look at him and I'm like, is everything all right? You got something to say? And he's just like, no, everything's fine. Especially after the challenge, after you won, I congratulated him. He's like, oh, thanks. And then he just stared at me. I was like, are you all right? He's freaking wacky. He's constantly paranoid. And he got 4 votes at the last tribal council, which is why he definitely thinks any one of us could just flip and get rid of him, even though we've told him we won't. Even though we want to, we still won't. But at the same time, then he like tells Gary he's not going to vote for him, but then apparently Gary told him today that he was going to cast a vote against Jamie just because he couldn't do it for Bobby John or Danny, and then that made Jamie just like flip his lid, and he's like, that's it, Gary's going. If, you know, Gary's got to go tonight. But 5 minutes before that, Gary just said to me, well, whatever way Jamie votes, I'm going to vote because I want to stick with you guys as much as possible, and said the same thing to Rafe. And then Jamie comes over out of nowhere and was like, he just told me he's voting for me tonight. Which makes no sense. Why would he ever walk up to you and say he's voting for you? So Jamie's like retarded. I really think he's retarded.